I guess my question is broadly whether, like, it seems like there was a wave of housing occupations in 2014 and 2015. It died off, and I went abroad at the same time, so I'm not really sure why that is. And whether occupations, because they are legal still, like a protest occupation is legal, whether that's a tactic that either of your groups would consider using again, or why not, or why it doesn't seem like the right time anymore, or just generally I'm interested in how that's faded from kind of housing activism, discourse and practice. And also I feel like while there's a lot of solidarity between different housing campaigns at the moment, which is really nice, that the right of people to occupy unoccupied buildings, I feel like squatting has been kind of shafted to one side in a way, as people who also have a right to live in empty buildings. And it's kind of a vaguish question, but I think my gist is across.
I think it's an excellent question, and it's an excellent point. We done quite a high profile campaign in 2014, right? And speaking as me and as a member of the campaign, I think that's one of the strongest tactics that any campaign can have ever, is to occupy empty homes. And I think actually that is like that should be the main aim for any housing campaigners. Actually, really, I do, because the fact is the public will be on your side, right? If you take over empty homes. The reason it's not happened yet, well, there's lots of reasons, such as, you know, what energy have you got? What resources do you have? When's the right moment to act? But all I can say is that's something that's always in our discussion, because it's so obvious, you know, it's so there. I really hope that we manage to find the moment to kind of move soon and do that, and that there's enough people that can aid that and support that, because it's energy. I think the reason it's not happened in a while is literally because it takes a lot of energy, and there was a lot of that movement, and quite simply there was peaks and troughs of any movement. There was a bit of a housing movement at that moment. I would strongly say that there's no housing movement right now, and we should ask why that is. I think we could get into wider political discussions about the fact that a lot of people that were active in the housing movement maybe started putting their energies into other things, such as, you know, campaigning for Corbyn. Maybe they thought, oh, that's the way we're going to win housing, and some things dropped off. But I mean, those are wider discussions that we should be having, and we should be asking why there's not a housing movement, because if there was a housing movement, we'd be taking over empty homes.
I think I can add something to that as well. I guess I've been involved in housing occupations in the past, and although some of them have gone really high profile and got a lot of media interest, sometimes there are occupations that get next to no media interest and are just like, they're serving it, like they're there for a few weeks or less, and are not really like having that big wider impact. I am still really, really in favor of them, but I know that the ones that I've been involved in the past, we really benefited. Although it's technically legal to have an occupation, you do usually break the law in some way by being there in a way that you can be got for. And it's much easier to do that kind of thing if you're not an official registered organization that people can point to and say, well, that's who we're suing for court. And so I think for organizations that do have that legal, once you make that decision to be a legal registered organization, it makes it much harder to do that kind of thing.
I just wanted to come back on this kind of point about burnout, because I totally I agree that the energy it takes is huge. However, when you look at the achievements you can get if people that are directly affected are occupying homes, it is dramatic. We got 40 homes reopened on an estate that was being decanted for 10 years after a 2-week occupation. If you look at what's happening in Philadelphia, where people are taking over homes, they are making huge gains that they would not have a chance of making. And so occupying homes is one thing, but I think it's a wider conversation about any type of direct action, blocking a road or other things like that. The point is that direct action is there for a reason, because you make huge strides forward. What comes along with that is the threat of, like, how do you deal with the illegality of it? Because you can guarantee that direct action, there's something illegal that could be pinned on you for sure. But you have to balance that with the power of public opinion about what you're doing. And if you're loud enough, The public will support you. If people directly affected that need homes go into occupied homes, and the public will back that. And when the public backs something, then it leaves the council in a very difficult situation. So I just think it's important to note that the gains that you can make from tactics like these are massive and save you years sometimes. And that's it.